When heaven has no plan B, God looks for those who have already been through the fire and survived. He does not choose the ones who appear strong in the eyes of men, but those whose hearts have been broken open enough for His power to flow through. When everything seems to fall apart and the world grows darker by the day, God begins to search the earth for someone who will not bow to fear, someone who will not compromise for comfort, someone who has been tested long enough to understand that obedience is greater than sacrifice. This is where you come in. You have been overlooked, underestimated, and misunderstood, but heaven has been watching your process all along. You were not forgotten, you were being preserved for the moment when divine intervention would require a human vessel completely surrendered to the will of God. When the systems of this world start collapsing, and no earthly leader can provide an answer, God looks to the ones He has hidden in plain sight. You are one of those hidden ones. You have been stripped of everything that could hold you back: relationships, environments, dreams that once made sense because heaven has been aligning your life for something greater. The moments of silence, the seasons of confusion, the long nights of prayer where nothing seemed to shift were not wasted time. They were the preparation grounds for your calling. God was shaping your spirit to be resilient in a world full of compromise, to carry faith when everyone else was losing it, to hear His voice when the noise around you became unbearable. When heaven has no plan B, it means God has already written you into the solution. There comes a time in every generation when God must raise up voices that speak from a place of fire, not from theory. You have lived what others only preach about. The pain you endured wasn't meant to destroy you, it was meant to teach you the language of the Spirit. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every delay became a message written on your soul, preparing you to stand when others fall. Heaven is not interested in polished perfection, it is looking for authenticity, raw faith, and unwavering obedience. You have been trained in the wilderness so you could carry power without pride, so you could serve without needing applause. God has tested your heart, and now He knows He can trust you with influence. The chosen ones always carry the weight of divine expectation. You were not called to fit in, you were called to disrupt the pattern of darkness. That's why you could never settle where others did. Something in your spirit always felt restless because you were never meant to be comfortable in places where compromise thrives. God placed a divine discontent inside you to keep you moving forward, to keep you searching for His purpose when everyone else was satisfied with temporary pleasure. When heaven has no plan B, it means your yes carries eternal significance. Your obedience is not just for you, it unlocks something in the atmosphere that others are waiting on. You were not chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you refused to quit. Heaven saw your tears, your hidden sacrifices, your quiet moments of surrender when no one else was watching. You thought your prayers went unanswered, but they were actually being stored, building momentum in the unseen realm. Now the season has come for those prayers to manifest. God's out of options because every other system failed, every other voice grew silent, and every other strategy fell short. You are the answer He kept in reserve. You are the one carrying the fire that this generation desperately needs to see. The light inside you is not small, it's divine. It was lit by heaven itself and cannot be extinguished by human doubt. When heaven has no plan B, it's because the chosen ones were the plan all along. You were created for such a time as this. That sense of urgency you've been feeling in your spirit is not random, it's heaven's signal that your assignment is now active. The world around you may still be confused, but your spirit knows what time it is. You are not just living through history, you are part of the prophecy being fulfilled. Every step you take in obedience becomes a divine move on God's chessboard. He's sending you into spaces that need light, into hearts that need truth, into systems that need redemption. You are the living evidence that God still has a plan, even when the world has run out of answers. Heaven's last move is not a miracle in the sky, it's a person on the ground walking in divine authority. That person is you. You carry within you the answers generations have prayed for, the healing that families have cried for, the wisdom that leaders have searched for. You have been refined by fire so that when you speak, your words carry the weight of heaven. You are not ordinary, and you are not here by accident. Every closed door, every delayed promise, every painful moment was orchestrated to position you for this divine release. God does not waste his chosen ones, he invests in them. And now, that investment is about to yield a harvest that will shake everything around you. You have been prepared for this moment, and heaven is counting on your obedience, your courage, and your faith to bring divine order where chaos has reigned too long. The refining of the remnant is one of the deepest and most painful processes heaven allows. It is not for everyone, only for those who have been handpicked for divine assignments that demand endurance beyond the ordinary. When God refines you, he strips away every attachment that cannot survive the weight of your calling. He isolates you not to punish you but to purify you. You may have wondered why certain people walked away, why doors that seemed perfect suddenly closed, why what once felt secure was suddenly shaken. It's because the refining fire cannot burn properly in the presence of distractions. God needed to remove everything that could distort your purpose. He needed your full attention, your undivided focus, and your willingness to walk alone when no one understood what he was doing inside you. The remnant always goes through a process that others do not. While the crowd celebrates quick blessings, the chosen endure quiet seasons of breaking. You have felt forgotten while others seem to rise overnight, but the truth is, heaven has been working on you at a deeper level. Your character was being formed in the fire, your faith was being stretched beyond comfort, and your discernment was being sharpened in the silence. The refining of the remnant is not about convenience, it's about capacity. God was enlarging your inner strength to carry more than you thought possible. The things you lost were never meant to limit you, they were meant to make space for what heaven is about to pour into your life. During refinement, God hides you. The world cannot see what he's doing, and even you might not fully understand it. There were nights when you cried out for clarity and got silence in return, days when you begged for relief and found more resistance. Yet through all of it, something inside you was quietly growing, a resilience that cannot be taught, a faith that cannot be shaken, and a humility that cannot be faked. The refining of the remnant is a hidden transformation. Others may have seen your struggle, but they did not see how God was using every disappointment as a chisel to shape your destiny. The crushing of your plans was the crafting of your purpose. When you are part of the remnant, you carry a different spiritual frequency. Your sensitivity to divine instruction increases because you've learned to depend solely on God's voice. You've been stripped of the need for human validation, and that's exactly what qualifies you for divine revelation. You no longer chase platforms, you chase presence. You've learned that what you lose in the natural, you gain in the spiritual. Every time something was taken from you, heaven deposited something greater: wisdom, vision, endurance, authority. This is what the refining fire produces, a vessel that no longer leaks anointing but carries it with power and precision. The remnant is small because few are willing to endure the refining. It's easier to blend in than to be set apart. But you were never meant to blend in. God chose you to carry a standard of purity in a time of compromise. That's why the process hurt. It was cutting away everything that didn't reflect his glory. Every delay was protection. Every unanswered prayer was alignment. Every moment of silence was God's way of recalibrating your spirit to heaven's frequency. You were being trained to hear what others cannot hear, to see what others overlook, and to move when God whispers instead of when the world shouts. There were times when you questioned if you were even chosen because nothing around you looked like the promise you were given. You saw others succeeding while you were still being refined, and you wondered if you had missed your chance. But the refining is never a delay, it's a divine setup. God does not release untested vessels into significant assignments. He refines those he intends to trust with influence. You were not being punished, you were being prepared to carry something sacred. The weight of your future demanded that you be refined in ways others weren't. What you endured was heaven's endorsement. The pain you carried was proof that God saw something in you worth investing in. The refining of the remnant produces clarity. It burns away confusion, pride, and fear until only truth remains. You've learned to recognize God's timing, to trust His no as much as His yes, to walk in faith even when you can't see the outcome. Every season of refining has built a deeper foundation of trust within you. You've learned that God's silence does not mean absence, it often means He's working in ways you cannot comprehend. The refining has also exposed the false things around you, relationships built on convenience, opportunities rooted in distraction, and voices not aligned with your destiny. Now, you can see through illusion. You can sense when something is from God and when it's not. That discernment was birthed through the fire. You are part of the remnant because you chose to stay in the process when quitting seemed easier. You surrendered to the breaking when others sought shortcuts. You allowed God to rewrite your plans instead of forcing your will. And though it felt like loss, it was really transformation. The refining has made you unrecognizable to those who knew the old version of you. They see a different light, a different strength, a peace that doesn't make sense. That's the evidence of the fire's work. The person who entered the storm is not the same one walking out of it. You are purer, stronger, and more focused because everything false has burned away. God refines His remnant until there is nothing left to prove, only something left to reveal. He allows you to be misunderstood so that your validation comes from heaven alone. He hides your progress so that your unveiling will carry divine impact. Every hardship was a lesson, every betrayal a promotion in disguise, every loss a doorway to greater authority. The refining was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to reveal the gold within you. You have been purified by fire so that when God sends you out, you won't be moved by praise or crushed by pressure. The refining of the remnant was heaven's way of ensuring that when your time comes, nothing within you will sabotage what you've been called to carry. You are the final assignment. When God looks at a generation drowning in confusion and darkness, He doesn't send another system or a crowd of voices, He sends a single vessel burning with purpose. That vessel is you. Every moment of your life has been a divine setup for this exact season. You've been pushed through valleys and storms, tested by silence, and refined by isolation because heaven was preparing you to be its final response to a world that has forgotten His voice. You were never meant to fit in, you were meant to stand apart. Everything you've been through, every betrayal, delay, heartbreak, and closed door was heaven's way of shaping a weapon in human form. God is not searching for perfect people, He's searching for yielded ones, and your surrender has qualified you more than your strength ever could. When God assigns you as His final move, He equips you with spiritual authority that comes only from brokenness. You have seen too much to doubt, lost too much to fear, and waited too long to give up. Heaven has trained you to move with quiet power. You've learned to listen before you act, to wait when others rush, and to trust when everything seems uncertain. God's anointing rests heavily on those who have been through hell but refuse to lose hope. You are walking proof that survival itself can be a ministry. Your story carries the evidence of divine preservation, and your scars are not marks of shame, they are signatures of assignment. God has been aligning your life piece by piece, even in seasons where you thought everything was falling apart. You didn't know it then, but every detour was divine direction. Every ending you mourned was actually the beginning of a redirection. You were being positioned for impact. The places you were rejected from were never meant to hold your anointing. The people who walked away weren't meant to carry the weight of your destiny. God was clearing your path for a pure release, because what He's about to do through you can't be contaminated by familiarity. The final assignment requires complete focus, full surrender, and unwavering faith. You have been trained for this silently, and now the time has come for your obedience to shift atmospheres. You are not just a believer, you are a carrier of divine instruction. Heaven speaks through your steps, not just your words. When you move, spiritual territories shift. When you pray, unseen chains break. When you speak truth, deception trembles. You may not feel powerful, but your obedience holds the power of heaven behind it. God has placed you in spaces where others lost faith because your presence alone is a reminder that light still exists. You've been chosen to stand in the gap where faith is fading, to speak life where hope has died, and to reveal God's strength where human strength has failed. Being the final assignment means walking alone at times. It means standing firm when everyone else doubts, believing when logic screams otherwise, and trusting God's timing even when nothing seems to align. The loneliness you feel is sacred, it's the weight of divine responsibility. The anointing you carry demands solitude because it cannot be diluted by the opinions of others. God needed you to depend solely on Him so you would never mistake His voice for another. Every season of isolation has been an investment in your intimacy with heaven. You've been hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were being protected. There's a reason you feel things others ignore. Your sensitivity to the spiritual realm is not a weakness, it's your assignment's compass. You can sense shifts before they happen, feel heaviness before others notice, and discern truth even when it's masked by deception. That's not paranoia, it's prophetic awareness. You carry the eyes of the Spirit, the insight that pierces through confusion, and the fire that exposes darkness. The final assignment requires spiritual sight, and God has been fine-tuning yours for years. You see differently because you've been called to lead differently. Everything about your journey has been intentional. The pain, the patience, the pruning, it all had purpose. You were never being punished, you were being positioned. There's something inside you that the world desperately needs, something only you can release. That's why the warfare has been so intense. Hell attacks what heaven has anointed. Every time you were hit with discouragement, it was proof that the enemy recognized your potential before you did. But no attack can cancel divine assignment. You were written into God's plan long before you faced your first battle. Every hit you took made you stronger, every delay made you wiser, and every loss made you more dangerous to darkness. Now, heaven is releasing you. The final assignment is being activated. You will begin to see divine connections form, doors open that once seemed sealed, and confirmations that align perfectly with what God whispered in your spirit years ago. You won't need to chase opportunities, they'll recognize the anointing on your life and find you. You won't need to explain yourself, your fruit will speak louder than words. The same people who once doubted your calling will soon witness undeniable evidence of God's hand on your life. This is not coincidence, it's fulfillment. You are being sent as heaven's final messenger to your generation. Where religion has failed, relationship will speak through you. Where systems have fallen apart, your obedience will rebuild. You are the living proof that God still moves through those who dare to say yes. You are not just part of the story, you are the move of God unfolding in real time. You carry healing in your hands, revelation in your words, and transformation in your presence. Every time you speak truth, you awaken something divine in those who have forgotten who they are. You are not stepping into your purpose, you are your purpose walking. So rise with confidence. Heaven has signed your name on its final plan. You are not a backup option, you are the chosen answer. The world has seen strategies fail, leaders fall, and systems crumble, but now God is sending you. You are the evidence that heaven never runs out of power or people willing to carry it. Walk boldly into what's next. You've been refined, tested, and approved. This is your season to manifest everything you were created for. The wait was worth it, the process was necessary, and the assignment is now. You are heaven's final move, the living message God is sending to a world in need of light. You've heard the message, chosen one. Now it's time to move. Heaven didn't bring you this far just to inspire you, it brought you here to awaken you. Everything you've walked through was God's classroom, everything you lost was a lesson, and everything you survived was proof that His hand never left you. You are not ordinary, and this is not a coincidence. Heaven is intentional, and you were chosen with precision. The world may still be blind to your calling, but the spiritual realm already knows who you are. You are the one carrying what generations prayed for. So rise with authority. Walk with purpose. Speak with boldness. The same fire that once broke you is now the fire that fuels you. You don't need validation from men when heaven itself has endorsed you. When you step into this next chapter, remember you are not walking alone. Angels have been assigned to your path, grace has gone before you, and favor will follow you wherever you go. This is the hour for the chosen ones to rise not in pride, but in power. Not to be seen, but to shine. God has run out of options because you were the option all along. You are His final assignment, His living message, His proof that the light still wins. Carry that truth in your spirit. Speak it. Live it. Guard it. Because what heaven placed inside you is not just for you, it's for everyone still waiting for hope to find them through your obedience. So if this word spoke to your spirit, don't just listen, respond. Move in faith. Forgive those who hurt you. Step into what God has been calling you to do. The world is waiting, and heaven is watching. Your time is now. Thank you for walking through this message with me, for opening your heart to hear what the Spirit is saying. I pray that every word spoken here ignites something unshakable inside you. May you never doubt how chosen you are, how loved you are, and how necessary your light is in this season. Until next time, stay grounded, stay faithful, and keep your fire burning. The world may not understand your journey, but heaven does. This is your confirmation, your reminder, and your release. God bless you, chosen one. Keep walking in purpose, keep moving in power, and remember, heaven is sending you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next message. I fire sparkles.